to understand it, you need to get under the skin of it. And when you relax and explore and spend time here, it shows itself. That's the magic of this place.
Kafue National Park is one of Zambia's main national parks, but it's one of the lesser known national parks, and it doesn't really get the attention it deserves. Essentially, it's a small country. The great thing about it is that being so big, it's so varied as well.
The Kafue isn't one thing. It isn't just a woodland park or a plains area. It's a bit of everything, and those different habitats is why we have such diversity of wildlife and bird life.
There's almost a convergence of these different habitat types. I think that's by virtue of the river winding its way around what we call the thumb, the peninsula around here. So we've got this wonderful riverine habitat, lots of great trees, the jackalberries or waterberries, tall, big, magnificent trees that line the banks of the river. You see their fantastic root systems holding it all in place. Great habitat for birds and wildlife, and particularly in the late dry season when it's hot. You start moving away from the riverine areas into these dambos. Many of these places hold water, so they're also a source of life. And then that gives way to patchy miombo woodland, which is one of the main habitat types of the park. Then we've got termitary areas, the acacia scrubland. As you transition through these different habitats, you see different wildlife. The Kafue is known for its diversity of antelopes. It's got 20 different antelope species. The diversity of antelopes is special. It's a great place for birding as well. The park's got 499 recorded bird species. We're trying to get up to that 500 mark. Sitting in the camp, we've ID'd over 160. The general game is just fantastic. The large carnivores.
Cheetah is a cat that a lot of people know about, but not much is known of them in Zambia. The Kafue, along with a small national park further west in Liuwa, is the only park with a viable population of cheetah.
And then, of course, the lions have been an absolute success story. Coming into this area and exploring it, we knew of 2 lions, and we now know of over 24. Musikesi is in a unique area. The camp is situated right in the heart of the northern part of Kafue, in an area that we chose carefully, an area that previously had no access. Being so wild and inaccessible, it was a hotspot for illegal activities, and making it accessible has meant that it's that much more protected. We worked to find a new site we felt would have a much more positive impact than simply building on someone's doorstep. It's the first place I've ever felt we're actually part of everything rather than just an observer.
When you approach the lagoon here, you're not too sure what to expect, and it's a bit of woodland, a bit of grass, and then all of a sudden it opens up and you see the elephant and you see hundreds and hundreds of puku and the impala and the associated predators that hang around because of that. When we first discovered this area, some of our staff members nicknamed it Eden because of the game that they encountered when they came to the lagoon. We realized that this lagoon was a very special place.
Having the privilege of being in this area without any other vehicles or boats, you really feel that remoteness, and that sense of adventure is tangible. We liaise closely with the Zambia Carnival program, and we went out the other day and had this incredible encounter with cheetah and 3 cubs. These were unknown cheetah. They're not on their database of known individuals. This area is so wild and big that there could be anything out there. For us, a bush camp is small, it's intimate, it's personal. But you've got all the creature comforts. You have flushing loo, hot showers, good food, So we really want people to feel as if they are at home as well. But the focus is on what's happening out and about. The bush camp really is about the bush. We do encourage people to spend a bit of time in camp purely because the lagoon is a fantastic spot to sit and watch. There's so much going on down in the front of camp. The team, they joined us from the very beginning when we first opened the bush track to get into this area. They were all guys from the village, never had any employment before, and it was important to us that we took people like that and gave them opportunities rather than cherry-picking people from the industry already. We want to stick to that as we move forward. The typical day will start off with a wake-up call before sunrise. Have some breakfast, either a morning walk or a game drive. It's totally flexible depending on what's out there. The perspective you get on the wildlife and the landscape is very different on foot. Being eye level with a herd of zebra is a totally different experience than from a vehicle. In a vehicle you tend to gloss over some of the smaller things.
They have two little lobes at the back here, whereas all the cats,
Animal tracks, bird tracks, insects, plants, flowers.
they believe that this is a story of your life. You are born and you die.
There's so many interesting things to pick up on and see on a walk. We're spoiled when we're out in the vehicles, we're the only people around. The magic of that is when you do find something, you can spend as long with it as you like. It's a wonderful area for game driving in because we've got such a variety of habitats. The reward of finding something on your own and being able to spend time with it that's magnificent. The Kafue is an entirely Zambian river. It's roughly 1,000 miles long. It enters the park in the very northeastern corner and it runs through the park for about 250 kilometers. It's very different to the Zambezi or the Luangwa or any other Zambian rivers. It's crystal clear, it's very slow moving, so you can just turn off your engine and drift. One of my favourite things on the river is seeing elephants cross. They love being in the water. It's a really intimate river. You drift slowly and you see wildlife on that bank, you can see wildlife on the opposite bank. There's some magnificent spots along the river all the way throughout the park. The light, the reflections, the skimmer colonies, it's a photographer's dream. Tend to night drive back towards camp and see what you can find with the spotlight. And then wind down around the campfire.
Moving forward, the plans are to enhance resource protection of the area, anti-poaching, fire protection. We've already managed to achieve very good things with our fire regime and keeping this particular pedicle of land here fire-free 5 years now. When we first tried to drive around this area and we would see glimpses and the lions would be off they go and the odd elephant you'd hear trumpets. The first lion we ever saw, one lioness in our first year, was a 3-legged lioness. The loss of her one foot and part of her leg is likely to have been a snare. I thought, oh gosh, what is this area that we've come into? I remember as a child staying in a camp not too far from here. We would hear gunshots in this area across the river. So we knew that there was a lot to be done here, but chose to put ourselves in the core of an area that had no positive impact before. We've created a buffer zone by putting in a few tracks, by walking in areas, facilitating the wildlife authorities and helping their anti-poaching patrols. We've created an area that is more conducive for wildlife to rebound. Just one look at the Eden Lagoon, we can see hundreds and hundreds of animals. We had a herd of 60 elephants and we're seeing them regularly. Just this morning, we saw 2 different prides of lion. It's very rewarding to see what wildlife wants to do, given the opportunity. Wildlife wants to proliferate, and if we allow it to, it will.
It's such a privilege to be in an area like this where you're seeing the wildlife change and evolve as a result of your presence in a positive way. It's always a treat to go out every day not knowing what you're going to see. Having guided for almost 15 years, it's still so exciting every day to go out. That's what Muskesi is about. If you've got the slightest interest in wildlife, wilderness, and just being away from civilization, then you love it.